Hey people, hello from the couch, from Kelly and Robben.
Hello everyone.
Glad to see you here. It's kind of an intense morning as we had planned on having some upgraded audio here and perfectly good microphone. In fact, I really dig it, this AKG, but we haven't been able to get the levels balanced correctly, so we're only getting distortion, overdrive. That is kind of unpleasant to the ear. So we're just going to have to go. That's good. Yeah. We don't want to blame the microphone because I'm sure there's nothing wrong with the microphone. It's just getting levels balanced, and I'm not very technically minded, and Kelly's not really too into the audio thing either. So anyway.
We'll get it worked out. So next week we should have better audio for this little concert because he'll do another one next week.
Yeah, I want to keep playing for everyone. I mean, I enjoy it myself, but we want to sound better for you. So we're going to do our best.
Yeah.
So hope everybody's good out there. Seems like we're seeing a little bit of light. I don't think the end of the tunnel, but a little bit of light. And we can kind of get past our stir craziness with the sequester perhaps coming up soon here. Probably different in different states, different parts of the world, you know, maybe not so much, but I mean, just my own personal feeling is I think it would be good if we could all get out and interact a little bit more, although we have to be safe, right?
Yeah, we're going to be safe. We're actually having a few friends over on Tuesday. Two friends. And we're going to have a social distancing cocktail hour.
Yeah, hang out.
It's very exciting.
How about you guys? Have you done any of that? I'm wondering. We see people out on the street here in the neighborhood, and they'll just like stand outside somebody's house. Everybody's got a beer or a Coca-Cola or whatever they're drinking, and they just hang out and chat, you know, like a stoop thing.
Yeah, and a couple doctors across the way. I think I mentioned that last time. Having a little social distancing get together in their front yard. So they're doing it. They're doctors.
Yeah.
So
we have a doctor right in front of us here. We're like kind of behind another house, which is cool because we're off the street and we have just trees and greenery behind us with the deck, which is just fantastic. But we have a doctor right there, so
in case
of emergency.
Kind of funky, they're not hearing all those dings, but
oh, can you turn that on?
It's on my computer.
Oh, sorry people, we're dinging a little bit.
Anyway, we're all just hanging out, being ourselves, not being afraid to be fools.
That's right, the old motto.
Right.
Do we want to answer questions for a bit first, Dave?
I think we should. We were just commenting on some really great humor up on the feed. Someone said, thank you, can't remember where it is, but he said, thank you for doing this. Not only does it make my week, but it also helps realize what day of week it is. I love, so sweet.
Pretty good.
So sweet, yeah.
Another guy says, can you hold for a minute? I need to make a sandwich. So.
It's great. I love it. We're all just hanging out together. It's a beautiful thing. So,
okay. Shall we take a look?
Top.
Sure.
Yeah. Bring it in a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard for me to read. Eric Vardal. I know that name. Tor Eric Vardal. Imagine that your doctor says, Robben, we have to remove both your arms. You can play your favorite chord, lick, song before we proceed. Oh my God.
Oh.
I don't think I'd be in any mood to play the guitar if somebody said that to me. Sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. Anyway, I like G minor 11.
Hard to play without any arms.
But very hard to play without. So what's the next one?
Here, I'll just keep them.
Michael Lucas?
Eric. Same guy, right?
Again?
Yeah.
Can you play us a round of a slow 12-bar blues explaining what you think? I'm going to play a variety of things here today. I'm going to play 4 songs back to back. There's no way to stop the...
do that.
Sorry, man.
I don't think they can hear.
Or maybe you can't hear it like we can. But, we'll get into it. We'll get into it a little bit. I like somebody here listening to a tribute to Paul Butterfield. Oh, with my brothers, yeah. It's my brother Patrick Ford's label, Blue Rocket Records. All of us from up there who played together since our teens recorded this record. It's Northern California blues musicians. So what do we got here?
Okay. Barcelona, Spain.
Where's that?
Right here.
Okay. You make Sunday afternoon, evening very cool, particularly for the lockdown. Thanks a lot. You're very welcome. Let's find a question or two.
Okay, we're looking. We're going from the top here. So thanks for doing so many thank yous.
Sweet.
Where's the next gig in Nashville?
Next gig in Nashville? Nope. I actually am booked, I believe, to play at 3rd and Lindsley here in Nashville in June. But we got some sort of a little notification that's like they're not quite sure that they're going to be open at that time. So that would be the case. But indeed, our canceled trip, Bill Evans and I were going to Japan, April, with Daryl Jones and Keith Carlock. And that trip was canceled. But it currently is on the books for September. So that would not make me unhappy, to be going to Japan in September. Hopefully once again the air's clear, everything's all right around the world. Sure would be nice. So we'll see what happens. Which one? Top? Robben, you're such a great rhythm player. Can you show some of your unique chord voicings? Well, I'll certainly be playing them for you here today. Unique chord voicings I don't have. I have a style, but all of the things that I play are largely very traditional triads, and beyond that, the chords that I learned out of the Mickey Baker book. And I sort of honed them down. Like the Mickey Baker book, seriously, all the chords that I know I learned out of the Mickey Baker book. I knew how to play a 9-chord, and I like to call them cowboy chords. I knew the basic things, and I knew how to play a 9-chord. But the Mickey Baker Jazz Volume 1 is where I learned all of my chords. And so what I've done throughout my career, my playing history, has been to distill, so you can have a lot of information, a lot of musical information. And rather than try to go the route of many of my contemporaries, and the closest I would say in terms of a contemporary might be John Scofield. John and I were born literally same year, same month. Both born in December in 1951. Didn't even know that was a year. But, and his first big guitar hero was Mike Bloomfield. And, as was mine. And then I started getting into jazz, and he started getting into jazz. And he decided to go the route of jazz. And I decided to go the way of the blues. So a real, like an interesting little, road we walked together, and then, we took the opposite forks, and we've been doing it for exactly the same amount of time. Only he has much better education than I do and knows a lot more about more sophisticated harmony. So I just took the things that I learned from jazz and and distilled them. I kind of reduced it, into a concentrated sauce. And a big part of why I'm, my rhythm playing is as strong as it is because rather than learn more and faster licks, I developed a stronger pocket. And I developed the ability to accompany and propel a band, with my rhythm playing as opposed to my lead and solo playing. So I simplified all the jazz elements that I learned over the years. And occasionally there's a flurry, you know, of something sophisticated in that way. But pretty much blues, rhythm and blues guitar player, you know. Not unique voicings, just stylistically the way I use them. Another question? Hello from Boston. Hey, greetings from Bordeaux. Good evening from Belgium.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Love it. This one?
Tokyo?
The top?
Yeah. Hi, Robben. Do you ever break out your signature Fender guitar? I tried one in Tokyo last year, and it was a marvelous instrument. Yeah, my Fender, I guess you're referring to the model that Fender made for me for a long time. Yeah, I finally really moved away from that. I don't even own one anymore. I had several. I sold one. I sold 2 and gave 2 away. I mean, I think I had even 6 of them. It's just that ebony fretboard for me was not working. After a while, I can't play an ebony fretboard anymore. It just doesn't work for me. And I loved it at the time that we designed the guitar. And eventually we moved to making basically Les Paul-like solid bodies, which would be, you know, we had flame top, you know, rosewood fretboard. It was basically a Les Paul shaped like a Robben Ford model. And then I started really liking vintage more and got deeper into vintage and decided I wanted to have, you know, find an old Les Paul, and I've been through many of them since, I must say. And then just more and more moved away from anything that isn't vintage, you know. I like old guitars. I like the way they respond. I like the way they sound. And so I consider myself a vintage player now, you know, almost exclusively. It's very rare that I play something brand new. I'm open, and I'm looking at Paul Reed Smith's guitars because he just keeps innovating. He really makes amazing guitars. I'm still just pretty attached to the vintage, so we'll see what happens.
What is that exactly? You were trying to explain it to me the other day.
Oh.
Why can't, what is it about the vintage guitar that actually, why can't they make one like that, sound like that, or feel like that? Even, because you were trying to explain it the other day.
I have no explanation other than age, just years.
Well, what does the age do to the guitar?
The wood resonates, vibrates more and more, and I think that probably just kind of evens out a lot of things that are happening in the instrument. It's the vibration going through the instrument.
Maybe the instrument's used to that vibration. It adjusts to the vibration. Or knows how to
I think it's literally like chi running through your body, and you know, like, so blockages are removed.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then, of course, the pickups and whatever age does to pickups, you know, over time. It definitely does good things to pickups over time. So I remember listening to, you know, guitars that were made, like I wouldn't touch a guitar that was made after 1963, you know, because I could hear the change, you know, like, you know, Gibson was bought out. I think, indeed, those pickups may or may not have changed, you know, much over the first couple of years, you know. But even now for me, pickups made in 1968 could sound really good. And I think it just has to be age and time.
That's cool. Beautiful.
I think we should play.
Yeah.
We promised you a concert, and again, we're sorry that we couldn't make it sound better.
But next week it'll be even better. We're fine-tuning this.
I hate to make promises, ma'am.
So we'll just have to set up here a little bit, so give us a minute.
Oh yeah, start here. That little Fender you see is what I'm playing through. It's a custom Vibrolux that I bought it brand new at a Guitar Center. I needed a small amp in a pinch, and I kind of liked what it was doing, but it made a lot of noise, and it really didn't have a good clean sound. So I gave it to Todd Sharp over at Nashville Nashville Amplifier Services, and he did a wonderful mod on it. So I like it now. And this is now my home amp. As you can see, I've got my little Walters over here because I love them. Huh? I hope that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, how does it sound, everyone? Let's see if we can get some feedback. You could give us some feedback how it's sounding out there to you. Okay.
What?
I have to turn off the notifications. Yeah, that seems to be what's. You guys can hear those.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize.
We'll figure it all out.
Yeah, I don't know. Hang on one sec. Let me see if I can turn it off. You can practice a little bit here.
What just happened?
I'm just gonna quit it. Let's see if that helps. Sorry, you guys.
Well, I can answer a question or something.
No. Let's see. Can you hear? How's it going now?
Guitar is good. Voices are low. Good, better than last week. Voice is very quiet. Sounds amazing. Okay, we have every possibility under the sun. So I'm just going to play.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna build me a bird nest right in the heart of your town. I'm gonna build me a bird nest right in the heart of your town. I won't worry about no man trying to tear my bird nest down. I'm gonna build my bird nest, boys. Won't be on the ground. I'm gonna build my bird nest, boys. Won't be on the ground. I'm gonna build it so solitary, just can't tear it down. If I was a jaybird slipping from your will, if I was a jaybird slipping from your will, I'll be right in the heart of your town. I'm gonna get these highbrows head. sipping from your well. I'll be right in the heart of your town. Give these eyebrows hair. There you go.
Yeah, it was great.
The first.
That was great.
Kelly liked it.
Yeah.
Up to you guys, though.
The volume is good on both guitar and singing. Sounds great.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, even lie to us.
Magic.
Just tell us it's
Brilliant.
great.
Freedom, please. Yes, yes, yes. Ah, great. Wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Means a lot.
Freedom's a nice request.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play that right now.
Maybe next
but
week.
I'm going to think about that. It might work. You know, it's just me and the guitar, so we'll see about that.
Loud and clear reception from Holland. Ah, that's so great.
Thank you, Holland.
Beautiful. Thank you.
This guitar's tuned down a half step, just so you know. Bag of gold on my shoulder, easy feel in my mind. Smiles away, sun down, sun up. Someone there to comfort. Always there to comfort. Deep in dreams, drift on feathers. Sea of light protects my soul. To any dog, life is leading. Someone there to comfort. Always there to comfort. Angel's breath on the breeze, angel whisper in the wind, on past the sky, made for the earth, standing man, bless his word. Waving with the sound of things in motion, phantoms flash and disappear. Some things built and some things broken. Something that remind you, always there, remind you.
was great. I mean, I'm happy.
Thanks, Jay.
I'm dancing over here.
So what was the other one? Oh yeah, some blues. Can I get that glass of water, sweetie?
Yeah.
Somebody asked about a slow 12-bar blues, but I'm going to play something that, if you've ever heard me play, you probably heard me play this song. It's something that was on the, I think it's on the live album, Soul on 10. Screen's going a little dark here. Okay. But when you touched it, it looked better. All right. Can you just tilt it back just a hair? Great. It's too far. Great.
You stand back a little bit.
You stand back over there.
Yeah, stand back.
All right. Please set a date. Please set a date. Yeah, even if you tell me tomorrow, it might not be too late. When I need your loving, baby, really need it bad. We don't live together, but it makes me mad. Baby, please set a date. Yeah, even if you tell me tomorrow, it might not be too late. joke in there.
Fantastic. This is great.
It's good to have you around, baby.
Jeff, by the way, says it sounds great.
Really?
Warm and clear, and
Sweet.
yeah. So
Wow.
we have our friend Jeff Mackerlane helping us from out there in Brooklyn. Our good friends who always helps us when we're in panic mode.
That's right. So let's go back over, babe. I'm gonna play this other one from the couch after we chat for a bit. Almost pulled the snap from under there. So let's see if we have some questions. And thank you for all the lovely props, people. Yeah. Getting a lot of applause and
wonderful and
smiles. So.
Jeff's a cool dude.
Jeff's a cool dude. Yes, he is a cool dude. Very good friend. Really good guitar player.
Yeah. Wow.
My voice is a little raw, so forgive me. I haven't been practicing.
Super sweet.
You see a question in here, sweetie?
Let's see.
When you buy or have bought guitars in your life, what is the most important part of it? Sound, playability, looks, brand, or something else? Well, that's a good subject, you know. Indeed. What is it that turns you on about a guitar? And I personally, I think there are a variety of things, and they may even be sort of so personal that they're unknowable. But I do find people using kind of the same language when describing a guitar that they like, you know? Like, for instance, it sounds even, like you play the low string A, D, G, B, E, and no single one of them pops out over the other. For me, I like a very woody sound. I like the sound of wood and steel. That's actually going to come up in this next song I'm going to play for you. You can hear the wood, and you can hear the steel of the frets and strings, kind of, and they do this beautiful blend, you know, of metal and wood. I don't know. In the Chinese, I just thought of this. In the Chinese 5 elements, metal controls wood. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, just that sound is awesome. And then, of course, like hollow instruments, they give you a thing, you know, that it's like an ah sound. Sort of like it's like you open your mouth. Ah. It's the ah sound, you know, of the cavity in the guitar's body, I think. So that's why I like the Epiphone so much. The Telecaster and the Les Paul, these are kind of supreme in my book. My 60 Tele can pretty much do anything and everything, but there's a slight narrowness to the sound. It's not the ah sound quite, you know. I'm not quite sure how to describe the Telecaster, because it sort of mystifies me in a way, because it's a solid body instrument. So it must be I don't know what it is. And then, of course, the Les Paul, you know, that's the big sound. And also for me, I grew up playing Gibson-style guitars, so I'm more comfortable with the string spacing of the Gibson Les Paul 335, those two instruments in particular. And the Epiphone has the same string spacing as the 335, so I like that. There's a certain transparency in the sound that I like. It's almost like you can hear. It's almost like you can be in the sound, you know? There's nothing in it that offends you. And it's sort of like space, you know? It's sort of like you can just kind of be in that sound and nothing offends you. And then, of course, playability is a big deal. So if you grow up playing Gibson guitars, you can't just switch to Fender guitars and think everything's going to be the same, because it won't. It's different. They're all different. So I have a lot of instruments. I enjoy playing the SG, the Telecaster, the Epiphone, the Les Paul. I even have a Firebird, like a new one, you know, that I enjoy playing. I pick up Stratocaster. I can't hang. And I wish I could tell you why. I'm just not comfortable with the Stratocaster. So go figure, you know. You want to listen to your body, man. Make your body happy, you know, with the guitar. The whole thing needs to be very integrated, you know. It all needs to be very integrated. And I like a straight up Fender amplifier like this over here, because it just gives you the sound of the guitar. That's what I want. I want to hear the sound of the guitar. Now, this is not talking about recording, because when you get into recording, it's a whole nother kettle of fish, which I've learned. And in particularly, that's one of the main reasons I'm working with Phil Bradbury at Little Walter Amps, because he's making amps that, different amps for different applications, you know?
There's a question regarding that right here.
Can you talk about the various Little Walter amps you use? Phil made me one that he made for you, and I love it, but you seem to have a smaller one now, too. Well, the little black head back there, that is the King Arthur, and it's a 15-watt amplifier, and it reminds me of basically small Fender Tweed amplifiers from the 50s, and he's able to give you that sound, only better. It's like a higher audio quality, but not lose that thing, you know, that you hear in those older amplifiers. And I do believe he and I spoke about this just the other day, and I think that's kind of his mission, you know, give you that vintage sound, only it's, you know, it's just a higher audio. I'm trying to find the right word, but, you know, like something modern, only it's got that old sound, you know, but really good. I'm terrible with this. Anyway, let's have another question here. What kind of pick do you use, and how do you use it? I use your standard Fender Heavy. I've used the same, you know, from Diodario, make them, but the finish on the Diodarios has gotten to be kind of this matte thing that I don't like. And this is glossy. I like it to be glossy. And Jim Dunlop, he makes good ones too. Like, I don't know why it's so hard for people to, you know, picks are not being made as well as they used to. They're inconsistent. But, you know, so I like a Fender Heavy type pick, and I like it to be glossy and solid, you know, because I play with the edge of the pick a lot, and, you know, on those, and I'm scraping those low wound strings, you know, and these things, they just start to get chipped, you know, and worn, and I don't like them. So I'm tossing picks like every 2 or 3 songs. Didn't used to be like that. So I don't know if it's me or the picks or the combination of the two. Another question. What is it you like about Mini-humbucker pickups? Well, they have that hollow sound, you know, it's kind of hollow and woody sound. The ah sound, you know. I do really like them. They're like this, I don't know. They give me a combination of what the Telecaster does and what the Les Paul does. For instance, they're somewhere in between the two. You know, the single coil pickup and the humbucking. The Mini-humbucker, I don't know. You know, I'm sure someone could explain the science of that. I don't know if it's just, you know, it's smaller, and, you know, maybe there are fewer wraps. I don't know about that. And of course, that would vary to some degree, but it's an interesting question. But it's just that hollow, woody sound, you know. Mini-humbuckers on a solid body guitar, that's getting to be something I wouldn't be so crazy about. But, you know, in a nice woody guitar like the Riviera, mine's a 65, by the way, just so y'all know. It's a 1965 Riviera. If you like that sound, you know, I think you can probably find something like that for not too much money. Until today, because I just said it. Sorry. Okay, hi Robben. Davey O from True Fire. Mid-50s learning guitar. As a learner, should I focus more on rhythm than solo stuff? And how do you go about teaching mature learners? Well, I would highly recommend, and I do believe you are a subscriber, to my channel. And thank you for that. Because I feel real good about it. I feel real good about it, you know? And, you know, even if the beginning lessons start a little slow, the whole thing picks up. It just keeps ramping up. And yes, I think what you need to do is, you know, like learn the fretboard. Learning the fretboard's a big deal, you know? I have this tuned down, and I have the capo on it, and I fear losing the capo because it's might affect the intonation. It's hard to kind of tune this. But anyway, so we're up here, you know. Anyway, you can play thirds here. You can play them there. You can play them there. You can play them, you know. So that's the thing about the guitar is you can play anything on the guitar. You can play it in like 4 different places. So it becomes, it behooves you to learn how to do that. Learn the fretboard, you know, with the common language of the major scale. Just don't even worry about the other stuff until you really dig, you know. You can just play that major scale. If you can do it in one key, you'll be able to do it in all keys because there's no different fingerings on the guitar other than the ones that you want to fool with yourself. Different positions, there are different fingerings. But in any case, check out the lessons, man. And, you know, this right here is seriously addressed in those lessons. And yes, I would say focus on learning the fretboard. Focus on, if you know how to play any one thing, know how to play it in a bunch of places. I start with the pentatonic scale, and I ask people to learn how to play it all over the guitar. Okay, another question. Firebird has mini-humbuckers like his Epiphone. Yes, that is true. And, you know, it can work, but I have mini-humbuckers in the one that I just recently bought. I bought one like a year and a half ago or something like that. Brand new. And I like it, but I don't love the pickups. So which mini-humbuckers, you know what I mean? There's that. I almost bought this vintage Firebird. It was a 63, I think. And I absolutely loved the sound of it. I liked the look of it and everything. But it was $10,000 at the time, which was, we could consider maybe a fair price for something like that. But they're just so unwieldy. You know, so you can't even set them down, you know? It's just, they're hard to handle, you know? Like an unruly kid. And so I didn't want to pay 10 grand for something I wasn't going to be able to just pick up, play, put down. Hey, Robben, what's one piece of music theory that gave you a light bulb moment to bring it all together? I don't know that I actually had a light bulb moment with theory in that way. Because I'm self-taught, and I still, like, little things, you know, kind of surprise me, you know, that I find on the guitar. But I was such a journeyman, you know, like kind of step by step by step. But I think understanding the modes can be your best light bulb moment, or certainly a really good one, if you're confused by the modes. And I remember waking up to the modes, and that was interesting, but I already knew them. I knew I was already doing it. I didn't realize, like, oh, you're kidding me. That's just the C major scale starting on the 5th degree or the 2nd degree. Like, whoa, that was a cool moment, I really feel like, it's all contained right there in that C major scale, man, and those triads, that scale, that, understanding that that's the most important thing you can learn. And how to play it all over the guitar, all over the fretboard. Okay, one more and then I'm going to play.
Yeah, how about this one?
I have a 68 Super Reverb silver face, but it has the black lines on the control panel. Apparently that means 67 black face parts. Okay, I wouldn't know because I'm not an amp expert. I don't know things like that. The important thing ultimately, do you like it? Do you really like it? And I have found, that Fender is, you can find some good Fender amps. I started ignoring them unless I was forced to play them a long time ago. And now, like the Super Reverb, the 65 reissue, that can be a really good amplifier. And there are some little things that you can do to these amplifiers. It can be tubes, speakers, the transformer. So if you can find the right guy who really knows his stuff, you can, make some changes, to an amplifier that really will bring it up to snuff. And because, you can find a lot of those amplifiers, they distort, right away. And I think a lot of it has to do with parts. And, like, how well is it made? How good are the elements that they use to build the amplifier? So again, I do feel like, like you can plug in with a Super 65, and like it. But then you can not like it too. But you might have it fixed. All right, I'm going to play something.
You want to play here?
Yeah,
acoustic?
I think so.
Are you going to play any more electric?
Mm-mm.
Done with that for the day.
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe we can get people to respond again here to the sound. Is it distorting?
How's the sound?
What?
How's the sound, everyone? Can someone tell us how the sound is? No one's responding.
So I'm going to play a song for you that no one has ever heard before. I did that thing last time with that tune I played. What's the name of the song?
Last Willing to Wait?
No. After You've Gone.
After You've Gone.
Yeah, I played After You've Gone for you last time. That's the first time that song's ever been performed anywhere. This too. I've been working on this song for a while, and I'm still working on it, and I'm just going to go ahead and have the nerve to play it for you right now, making mistakes and whatever. We're getting a little bit of
a... people are liking it. Sounds
right.
good. Clear.
Okay. I made that comment about wood and steel earlier, that I like about the guitar, Wood, steel. All right. John is gone, said goodbye to his child and wife, delivered himself to the kingdom kingdom of fife. Heard the wailing sound of wood and steel, a shot to the soul worth taking. A great blue wave was breaking. From Southern days up to Harlem nights, through Texas on to the western shore, and foreign lands on ships of war. Guitar Johnny is gone. Said goodbye to his child and wife, delivered himself to the kingdom of fife. And then she dies where he don't belong. He lays it out before them, confused, they just ignore him. Guitar Johnny is gone. Said goodbye to his child and wife, delivered himself to the kingdom of fife. His Buick just a battered heap. I must carry him on for hours as unreliable powers. Have you ever heard those silver bells? A shower of shimmering light, a fire burning in the night. Guitar Johnny's gone. Said goodbye to his child and wife, delivered himself to the kingdom of fife.
Love it. Love it.
So that's Guitar John is gone. Said goodbye to his child and wife, delivered himself to the kingdom of Fife.
So tell us about the kingdom of Fife.
Oh, I'm going to give them some homework. Look up the kingdom of Fife.
Yeah.
He delivered himself to the kingdom of Fife. I think you'll get the analogy. So it's sort of a story about the progression of the blues, and also this man who's devoted to playing them and is never heard and understood properly. So he delivers himself to the kingdom of Fife. That's the story.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Yeah. We got, again, some nice applause.
Yeah, it's great. Beautiful.
Noise.
Noise.
From David Mackey. Noise. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Great tune. Thank you. Hello from the UK. I noticed when I watched you play years ago, you used to wear your guitars fairly high. These days, however, it seems you wear them slightly lower. Was this a conscious decision? Yeah, I used to wear them high. That's true. And because I was trying to, get everything right where I wanted it for the best possible playability, And then I just decided it looked too dorky.
Now there's a reason. That's the real reason.
And that is the reason. And I saw some pictures of myself back when I was playing the Jimmy Witherspoons, and I was like 20 and 21 years old at that time, playing first an L5 and then a Super 400, which is even bigger and thicker, and I had it down here at my knees. Like exactly the opposite, And that was clearly an extreme. And then having it up here just looked too dorky. So I met somewhere in the middle, and to, again, like the comfort. And it also, like, it works on a lot of levels because my body is looser. If I'm up here, man, it's very much about, back and forth picking technique, whatever you're going to do like that. So somewhere in the middle, and I have to admit that there was vanity involved in the choice, but it also, it's sort of a part of your being and, who you are, how you feel best, in your body, You want to put those two things together. Your instrument and your body. You want to really put them together, man. Just don't think of it as outside yourself exactly, any more than your hands are sort of outside yourself. They're outside your mind. They seem to be. I don't know. But, the guitar, okay, you pick it up, you put it on. It's like, and you want to really feel good in it, just like you would your clothing, It's like you don't feel separate from your clothing when you're wearing them. You shouldn't feel separate from your guitar when you're holding it and playing it. Okay, one or two more questions here. Hello, Robben. You always make work single coils and humbuckers into the same amp in the same situation. How do you approach it? Greetings from Argentina. Hey, my friend. We talked about that fairly recently, but I can only say that it has had to do with the instrument's output. The output is similar, and the Dumble amp, is my thing, and I've made Fender amps work when I had to. And as I say, I think they kind of can work, but the Dumble is just spectacular. It was just such a hi-fi amplifier. And also I play loud, which allows the amplifier to breathe. And that headroom creates those harmonics up there in the air. It's that the pickup levels are basically, the output of the pickups is basically the same. And the amplifier, any guitar is going to sound good through it. Through that Dumble amplifier, if it's a good guitar. I think that's the best I can do there. Says CB's bought Fender out. CB's bought Fender out, and in '69 they changed the faceplate. They used the blackface parts up and had more back plates than front plates. The silver face, not back, hotter circuit in '69-70 with mustard. I'm sorry, I'm a little lost there, but perhaps the gentleman.
That was it wasn't.
Perhaps the gentleman who asked the question.
It was a clarification.
I know, but
yeah,
I'm confused.
Yeah.
But perhaps the gentleman who asked the question knows. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Hi, I'm Martin from Buenos Aires. Last Sunday you answered me about Joni Mitchell and talked about Buenos Aires, Payarols, etc. My Wi-Fi collapsed and I didn't thank you. So thanks. You made my day. Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Very sweet.
Did you see something you liked there, babe?
How do you still feel about Inside Story?
I'm proud. Very proud. It was an interesting period for me because I was suffering from a bit of tendinitis when I made that record. Even that early, I was 27. So I had some stiffness that I was dealing with, but it only really shows up, I think, when I was playing things like, for me, Magic Sam. It's kind of a mishmash, just like kind of playing licks, you know. I was sort of struggling, but most of the rest of the record, pretty cool. Band was a very good band. I don't like the way the bass and the drums were mixed. The mix is very strange on that record, and I was too young to know how to advise, these people who were, very seasoned professionals. Steve Cropper produced the record, and so I was trusting. And again, I can listen to the record, and I'm like, I like it. I'm happy about it. And it made some noise, that record. So I'm proud of it. Indeed. Thanks for asking. I love being able to share bits about, some of my work because I think it can be informative to people.
This guy's asking many times.
What?
Please play or talk about green grass, rainwater.
Green grass and rainwater.
5 times. 6 times.
All right. How could we say no? Okay.
Can you play it?
I can try a little.
Yay.
I've got the guitar. Sorry, man. I've got the guitar tuned down. So, babe, could you grab that tuner off the headstock of the Epiphone there? So I'm going to try. Whoa. Oh. Thank you. All right. Green Grass and Rainwater is a song from A Day in Nashville. I wonder if I'd be better off. Woo! I wish you green grass. I'll go ahead and go all the way up. My voice is a little raw. And I've been tuning down to E flat because I actually find that a lot of the things, it's E flat, a half step down from where I've done a lot of things is actually a better place for me to sing. So I'm kind of digging, experimenting with this guitar tuned down thing. Not all guitars sound great when you tune them down. This guitar loses a little something when I tune it down a half step. Just gets a little flabby, but this guitar sounds so good when you put a capo on it, man. I don't know that I can even do this. How's that song start? Oh yeah, right off the bat. I might forget the words, people. Forgive me. Mexico, a disaster. I might disappear. Spent my fortune on breakfast, scrambled eggs and beer. Broke but glad to be breathing and leaving here at last. On myself and my future. Forget about the past. I wish you green grass, rainwater, and taking its light from the east. Providence, your umbrella be. Now let your dog run free. I can't remember the words. I'm going to do the bridge. Our labor's made and love what from my mistakes. The time I fell, now I wish you well. Don't bother about me anymore. Don't bother about me anymore. Hey Sandy, yo, you know what's that now? Love a hot summer night. Made my way to the water to see the reflections of the harbor lights. Shining sea of illusion, an original sin. We have taken a good long look at the view, the shape I'm in. I wish you green grass, rainwater, any wind up taking its light from the east. Providence, your umbrella queen. Now let your dog run free. Don't even think about me. I'm sorry I couldn't do a better job for you.
Great.
I'm going to have to make that up to you sometime.
That was fantastic.
I'm going to try to... That's a good song. I forget about that song. In thinking about things that we might do for you here today, I did kind of look around my records. A Day in Nashville is not one that I visit very much because, that was when I had the broken wrist, the fractured wrist, at that time. And I just, I was kind of in a recovery phase, and had to come back and redo parts and do the vocals. And I was just a little uncomfortable during that period. And, records make me think of things, and it psychologically affects that I listen. So, excuse me, that record and Blue Moon, those two records, I really don't revisit, for a variety of reasons that are, basically kind of personal. But I'm glad you've reminded me of this song because I like it too. There's a big band version of it. I don't know if you've heard.
HR Big Band.
HR Big Band, which was recorded in Frankfurt with a big band, and the gentleman, Ed, can't remember Ed's name, but he's the arranger conductor. And he did all these wonderful arrangements to a bunch of songs off that record.
Check it out on YouTube. HR
yes,
Big Band.
HR Big Band. It's a live performance, and so
they're great. There's a whole bunch of them. They're all on there. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the whole concert, right? Yeah. So anyway, check that out. And I tell you what, I think next week I'm just going to play it again because I want to know how to play it now because I do like that song. There's a few songs from that record. Midnight Comes Too Soon, but that's sort of like an improvisational dealio. Good song, though. Okay, one more question.
Okay.
Thank you for the props on the composition. What? I love when you mentioned how Miles welcomed you to the band by asking what you're going to wear on stage. You told this story during a lesson I had in your living room in Ojai in 2006. You were one of those people. Man, that was so strange. I mean, it was cool. I didn't mean to say strange. It had a certain, what's the word? Karmic thing to it or something. It was, those clinics always sold out in Ojai. And that was the only one that didn't. And we hadn't secured the place, so somebody else was in there, to our surprise. So we had to bring everyone over to my house in Ojai. And there were only 13 people. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And it was like our living room back there suits 13 people, like comfortably. So that was very cool. And thank you. I'm glad you were there. That's an interesting memory.
Someone else says I was in the living room too.
Come on, all right.
That's sweet. Here's a question.
Yes. Hi, Kelly and Robben. Who are influences as a songwriter? You're asking Kelly?
No, I think he's asking.
Oh, okay. Because I want to hear about that too.
I want to learn. know. We're gonna write a song.
I know. I'm gonna make you.
We'll see.
But influence as a songwriter, I can't say that I have any. I can say that honestly, because like I never thought of myself as a, I still don't think of myself as a songwriter. I write songs. I think of myself as a musician, and the guitar is my instrument, and I write songs so that I have something to play, that isn't somebody else's. So songwriting has been a long journey for me, and it has been basically a process of just keeping at it, and not comparing myself to others, and just finding my way. That's how I learned how to play the guitar. No teachers. I just listened and played. And of course, I enjoyed a lot of other people. I mean, Michael McDonald is someone that I worked with quite a bit, and even again over the years. And like he seemed to have this great gift of writing, great songs. But again, even working with him, I didn't feel like I was influenced. I work with Joni Mitchell. There's no way I could be influenced by her. It's like being influenced by Igor Stravinsky. Nah, you can't. That's how I feel. Somebody else could be influenced by her, but I was like, I can't even go there. So I would like to recommend to you, there's a book called Tunesmith by Jimmy Webb. That book I read and read and read, still, and continued to reference it for quite a long time. So that was all basically just kind of attitude, like little helpful things. Okay.
This says Kelly should design a t-shirt live at Robben and Kelly's. I would buy one.
Well,
so sweet.
We are going to design a t-shirt.
No, this week we're working on t-shirt design and some sticker designs.
Yeah, so we're going to come up with some merch.
With some cool things.
Yeah.
Just everyone, we can get going.
We have this to look forward to.
So we'll let you know when they're ready.
I want to see this one down here. No Bulbi. Just for fun, if you would have end up in Kiss, what would your makeup character be? I do not mean an existing one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I got nothing on that one. But thank you.
Sweet.
The Kiss reference, I played on Creatures of the Night. I took the guitar solos on I Still Love Her and Rock and Roll Hell. I really love your original song. So many.
Whoa, sorry, they're moving.
Oh, I see. I've lost it.
Don't be afraid to be a fool.
Thank you. That's our motto. Any Jaco memories? Okay. I wonder if I have. Interesting that you would ask. I wonder if it's because you're hip to the fact that I introduced, Joni Mitchell to Jaco Pastorius. And that's how he got the gig with her, which became another great period in Joni Mitchell's music. Jaco's stories, I was only around him 3 times. Now, the first was when I went down to the studio, when she had hired him. I went back to LA. I think we talked about this. Yeah, I told that story. And so I don't even remember meeting him there. I'm sure that there was some interaction, but he was doing overdubs and I was in the control room with Joni and the engineer. So I must have met him though. And then I recorded with Joni Mitchell, with him and John Guerin, some tracks that were never released. And that was a trip, just working with him. And, he had I don't know, it was cool. It was actually cool. He was very interesting. And I think it was before he'd gotten too out there. But, big personality, man. You're around somebody like that, they take up a lot of room. they take up a lot of room in the room. And so, you know, for me, I was a little like, you know, I didn't know how to interact with them really. And whenever I was in the studio with Joni Mitchell, I always felt very, you know, focused, because it was all new to me back then. You know, I was not a seasoned musician by any means. And the studio, you know, recording was a new thing for me, really. So anyway, I don't have much to say other than, you know, to the bass, there is no more important instrumentalist, bassist, you know, in the history of the instrument. So that's a lot to say about one guy. Okay, one more and we'll go.
Okay.
Hi, Kelly. Please share this link with Robben. It's an article I wrote for the Telegraph published today. Here's the link. Okay.
We'll look for that. We'll go through these comments after we sign out. We haven't really been doing that. I think we should, just to see what people are saying, you know.
Mickey Baker Jazz. Yeah, Mickey Baker Jazz, but it's volume 1. That's that chord book.
I never succeed and finish a composition. Can you give me a tip? That's a good one.
Okay. Never? Never is never. So that's I'm not quite sure to say. That seems to be, you know, you just need to make yourself do it. But I'll tell you what helps me when I'm stuck. So, and I'll even play it. There's a song that's on the, it's a studio recording, but it's on the live album, Soul on 10. It's the only live record I ever did other than the authorized bootleg long ago, which was actually a radio broadcast that wound up being released as a live recording. So this song, I think I might have talked about this here before, but it could be still of interest to folks. So this song, I haven't played it in a long time, but let's see. So it's not so bad to be alone. I got nobody bending my ear. I keep a distance to the telephone so the quiet can come through clear. When something goes by, just goes by. Something comes down, it just comes down. And that's all I had. And literally this went on for, I always find myself saying 2.5 years roughly. You know, I liked this little idea, but I couldn't finish it. And we were doing the, you know, like making a record always is impetus to write a song or finish a song that's already in the works, because you have a deadline, you know. So I had just put that song away and figured it was never going to be finished, which is apparently how you feel about everything you write. So I was frustrated. So I just like, okay. So I went. Feel the earth beneath my feet. Don't mind cooking the things I eat. Found some brand new wonders on the same old street. I remember that part. But anyway, it was just, I just broke it, you know? I just broke it. Just went exactly the opposite direction of the song. And bingo, I found my song. I finished my song. it was interesting, the way it developed, because like it went from, here's this person who doesn't mind just being alone, kicking down the street. It's lovely out there, and found some brand new wonders on the same old street, right? Found some brand new wonders on the same old street. So it became just his thoughts as he was walking down the street. First I just had the image of the guy hanging out, walking down the street. Where does that go? As far as a storyline, there's no story there. It's like a photograph as opposed to a film, It's like, yeah, nice day. Cool. That's why I couldn't go anywhere, because there was nowhere to go. So in breaking out of it like that, I decided to use his thoughts, like what would he be thinking about, and each one became a little vignette, and it's on its own. So I feel the earth beneath my feet. I don't mind cooking the food I ate. Found some brand new wonders on the same old street. And then there's the next one is. Anyway, the last one I particularly liked, which is the wheels of war are in need of grease. A billion more, it's a war on peace. Keep feeding the fire, it will never cease. Yeah. So try that. You have something, break it, and then see if you can put the two things together. By break it, I mean just other direction, man. 180. If it's rocking, bring it down. If it's down, rock it, And you might find something. Okay, people, I think
there's one more question I have to add.
Oh, all right.
Can you tell us a making a fool of yourself story?
Making a fool, it's been the story of my life. I've been doing it all day.
Yes.
Thankfully, I have this girl to
also
encourage me along.
And make a fool of us trying to figure this out.
Yeah. But it is it's something both of us share the same Buddhist teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and not afraid to be a fool was something that I heard from him. There's a Buddhist. I heard this from a Zen teacher, not personally, but I read it somewhere. But don't be predictable and guileless, right? So don't just be this perfect being,
It's so boring, really, right? If you think about people who are like perfect, don't you kind of want to mess them up a little? It's not genuine.
This is her,
right?
Kind of her thing. But yes, it's like if it. In other words, it's frozen. So it's a little bit frozen. I mean, even for oneself, like if you handle everything the same way all the time, growth is not necessarily going to come along. So if you're not afraid to be foolish, actually things happen. You get feedback, and there's energy, that's like, okay, not predictable, not necessarily, you could stumble. So it's got the quality of fearlessness. To not afraid to be a fool actually is working with a kind of a stronger element, which is that of fearlessness, that you're willing to expose yourself and
not care what people think. I think that's like key. Like, who cares? Who cares what people think? We should discuss this in a little more detail. It's nice that people have interest here in all of this, because. It's a good topic. It's a very good topic. And t-shirt. Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe. Yes. We have to plug these things. So subscribe to the channel. To subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Robben Ford Guitar Dojo channel at True Fire.
$15 a month for 4 new lessons every month that will continue and continue, progresses from the beginning all the way up to, it'll just keep going as much as I have to give in that department. And there are already, intermediate lessons and beginners lessons, and you can go back and forth between them. You can be a beginner, and if you want to look at what's going on intermediate, maybe you're quick and you would learn quickly, And
then there's the second tier that we've just added.
Yes, and we have a second tier, which is a little bit more expensive subscription, but you get one consultation, video consultation between the two of us. You play, you can even say some things, but also play, and send your video to me, and I will critique, and suggest and give you pointers, and I go deeply into that too. It's taken very seriously.
We're going to be adding some other content to that level also.
Yeah.
Special things that you're going to be teaching.
Yeah.
On the side.
Yes, that will be showing up in about a week.
Yeah, starting pretty soon. Pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
All righty, thank you.
Be safe.
Yeah, and have a good Sunday afternoon.
Take care.